Hello and welcome to Teresa's Journal. So here's the thing, I am super tired. I've ended my work week, which is 3 12s in a row, on night shift, and I get about 5 hours of sleep in between shifts. And right now I'm so tired. I was really tired yesterday too. So yesterday's filming, I rewatched it and I'm like, oh my God, I posted it. But, I promised myself one take because I wanted to be honest and authentic. Be careful what you promise. So, anyway, I've had a really good work week. Yeah, really great people to work with. Really fantastic crew. Um, and um, I was able to um, just do my job, and not have to worry about too much gossip or um, uh, uptight rules. And it's all just everybody, as one judge put it, everybody is chillaxed. Everybody's chillaxing here. We got a chillaxing crew. And I really think the way that you hold yourself in the milieu with your peers, and with the other patients rubs off on the patients. It's role modeling. You want to show them how to behave, and so pleasant, happy interactions with your peers shows the patients how to be pleasant and happy and interact with their peers. It's role modeling. It's a part of what we do in psychiatric care. Um, so when I say I've had 3 really good nights, I should say, first of all, when you have a good crew, even when it's a tough night, it's a good night because you're working with a team, and you're all in it together, and um, the events kind of bring a sense of camaraderie. I'm sure the police feel this way too, when they have to take somebody into custody, and it's a struggle. So when we're taking somebody down to give them medications, it's a struggle, and yeah, unfortunately, it needs to happen. So if it's ever happened to you, it's happened to me. Glad it happened to me. And if you're not glad it happened to you, well, I'm sorry. Reassess what might be real and not real. Talk to Yahweh. Yahweh convinced me to go to the hospital. And I should tell you, despite all the psych meds I've been on, and I've been on lots of different kinds. Well, that's not true. I've been on Zyprexa and um, Provenazine, are my antipsychotics. And then I've been on Celexa and Zoloft are the 2 antidepressants I've been on. And then I've taken Ativan, and I'm now prescribed Klonopin. I rarely take the Klonopin. Rarely. It really just, it puts me to sleep. But if I take Ativan, then a couple hours later, I'm wanting more Ativan, when I'm really anxious. It just doesn't last, 2 to 4 hours. It's a kind of all day, keep me up all night kind of anxiety. So anyway, so a night shift, one of the things that I can say is, on a good night, like last night, for example, there was only one patient who screamed out, and that lasted for about a half an hour. It scared quite a bit of the patients, and they went into their room. But we got that patient medication, and then we took that patient to their room, and had them stay back there, in their room, in a what we call a safety suite. It's a smaller area that contains a few patients instead of a whole bunch. It decreases stimuli, which just means that in their environment there's less to attract them or stimulate them, we would say. but get their attention, so that they would be less agitated. And it's one of the tactics, that's not a good word. One of the methods that we use. um, so we had a patient scream out for like a half an hour, caused kind of a ruckus. I had another patient, and that's typical. A night doesn't go by where something similar to that doesn't happen. Had another patient that got upset with me for doing rounds, and that most certainly happens almost every night. There are nights that go by where nobody complains, but most nights somebody's on Q15s and they're new and they're pissed, and I have to walk in there every 15 minutes to check on them and just be as quiet as I can and hope they go to sleep. And to talk about actually as being as quiet as I can, I had a patient tonight that I scared because I am a very quiet. I open the door almost so you can't hear it, unless you're actually awake and paying attention. And then I walk in very quietly. I purposely choose shoes with like these foam bottoms that are super quiet. I walk in and then I peek around the corner ever so slightly, so that I can see their chest, but their face is still covered, so that if they stir or turn over or wake up, they don't see me, so that I don't startle them. Um, and this works very well for most patients, and most patients are able to get a good night's sleep despite the fact that I have to creep in all the time, except for the newbies who are always very hesitant to have somebody walking in the room every 15 minutes, and they're generally paranoid or easily agitated by outsiders. But and I just had to tell him, hey, anyway, I really scared him. And he came up out of his bed and he's like, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? So it was tough, to explain to him, that it's required, that it's a policy, that we have to check and make sure that you're breathing and alive. You're in a hospital, so there's sort of reorientation going on, to where he's at and what's going on. And he said, yeah, but you're standing there and watching me breathe. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I have to. I'm supposed to watch your chest rise and fall for 10 seconds. And he's like, no, there's no way. And I said, yeah. And then I pointed to the camera and I said, you see that camera? And he looks up at the camera and I said, they watch me on camera to make sure that I'm doing it for 10 seconds. And he goes, no way. Get out of here. I don't want you coming back in. That's ridiculous. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to be coming in here every hour. And, I'm sorry. I really am. I would have a really hard time sleeping too. And I left. And I went to the nurse and I just said, hey, this is the situation. This is what's going on. And they came with me back to the patient's room and just reinforced that I'd have to be coming in, every hour. But I had to think about, normally the way that I approach a situation wasn't working with him. Sneaking in quietly so that he can sleep was causing him incredible amounts of agitation. So from then on out, the rest of the night, I opened the door up wide so that lots of light poured in. And when I walked in, I didn't creep around the corner so that he couldn't see me. I made sure that if he turned, that my face would be plain and visible to him. And he was able to sleep the rest of the night, and we never had another problem. But I had to change my tactics. I had to change the way that I normally interact with the patient in order to make this patient feel more comfortable. And that's, I'll toot my own horn. That's a sign of a good therapist. Come on. um, let's see. It's after 10 already, so why don't I say a prayer and get to bed? Um, oh, Matt, I want to start taking my medications on camera for anybody who wants to take them with me. You caught them? Thank you, honey. Thank you. I love you. My husband, he always gets me my medication. Everybody needs to have one, or a wife, or a significant other. Husband, husband, wife, wife, husband, wife. However you want to do it. Them, and they. Them, she, and them, he. Oh my God. Don't ever do this. I just took my medication with my cider. Some doctor's going to see that and think I'm awful. If you're out there and you are struggling with psychosis and you are taking your medication and you occasionally want to have a cider, just do it. If they're telling you not to drink it all and it isn't a problem for you, here's the thing though. Women are really only allotted about 1 a day, and men are really can only have about 2 a day. Anything more than that and you're doing damage. And so I told you yesterday, Paulus Lining Institute. He's done lots and lots of what they call longitudinal studies. Longitudinal. It's something like that. Studies where they look at people over time and their habits and their supplements and, what kind of things, genetics and everything. And it's great. A lot of what I do is based on his research for my own family. Okay, Yahweh, thank you for this opportunity and being with America through this tough time. I hope George Floyd is resting with you and knows that his life most certainly was not in vain. Lots of good has come from his passing, though I wish it were not so. Thank you again for helping me to understand that, I should say, answering my prayer by actually not answering my prayer, because I asked for forgiveness to learn how to forgive. And really what I learned is really there was no forgiveness for me to give, and it was between you and them, and nothing to do with me at all. And so though you didn't answer my prayer directly, you did come through, and even better than expected. And I appreciate that. Thank you for my husband who always gets me my meds. And his wonderful family, his mother, who's taking care of my 6, soon to be 7-year-old all the time. And thank you for my coworkers and a good work week. Be with me through this weekend. Help me engage with my children and bond with them. They're getting older and they're going to be leaving me soon. Thank you. May Yahweh be with you.